Hello, guys. I am Val and I am live. Hello, everyone. This is the first time I'm doing it, so I'm not sure how everything works. So for now, let's just try. Let me know if you can hear me and let me know if you can see me. So I'll be waiting for your comments. So I'll be waiting for your comments. Hello. Hello, Japan. Hi, good to see you. Hi. Hi, Tina. Where are you from? Hello, everyone. Well, again, I feel a bit weird because, as I said, this is the first time I'm doing it. So I'm very happy to see you all. Val is here. So if you have any questions or you want to chat about something related to teaching, let me know. Woo! Hello, everyone. Hi. I can see Ukraine is here. Hi. Very nice to see you all. Very happy to see you all. Cool. So yeah, guys, if you have any questions, just shoot away. I can. This is my. Here we go. Hello, Guli. What are we going to talk about? So, as I said, this is my first live stream, and I thought we could talk about English teaching, or since you watch all my videos, so maybe you have some questions. And I know that most of my audience are ESL teachers or English teachers. So maybe we can just share our experiences, see how you do things in your country, and I can share what I do here in China. What do you think? Hello, friends. Italy. Yeah, I'm sorry about pineapple pizza. I don't know if you saw this lesson, but yeah, pineapple pizza or Hawaiian pizza is very popular here in China. So I thought I would make a lesson about pineapple pizza. But some Italians in the comments told me that I have no God in my heart. It was really funny. I know that like real Italian pizza doesn't have pineapple, but it's just popular here. So I went with the flow and added some local flavor to it. All right. Classroom management. Let's talk about classroom management, please. How do you get the kids to cooperate so well? Does your point system work during all year? Okay, that is a very good question. So yes, I do use point and star system as a classroom management tool, and it works really well. Before we start our class, I divide my students into two teams. I always divide them into boys and girls. Some people say that, like, why do you divide them into boys and girls, not different teams? Well, in China, like in my school, for example, I don't have my own classroom. So I have to go to different classrooms to teach my classes. And kids students, they do not have assigned seats. So they always sit at a different desk. That's why in my case, it's just easier to divide them into boys and girls. So before the class starts, divide them into two teams, and each team gets 5 points. And then I reward positive behavior with a point, good efforts, or every correctly answered question. And if they misbehave, I erase points and give them to myself. This way it's very visual and they can see how many points they lost. And at the end of the class, the winning team gets a star. Then at the end of the year, the team with the most stars gets 5 points extra to their final exam score, which is a great deal, you know. Or sometimes as an award, the winning team can choose any lesson they want, and I'll design this lesson for them. So this is a different kind of reward. That's why they are trying really, really hard to get these points and stars, because it helps with them with their finals. So I guess that's what helps me. That's what gets the kids to cooperate so well in my classes. And another thing that I want to say, if you want to have like well-behaved class, you need to be prepared. Like, you need to be consistent with everything you do, and you need to be prepared. And that's why I spend so much time on my PowerPoints, because kids see all the efforts you put into your classes and they respond accordingly. I hope this answers your question, Stephanie, I think. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Oh yeah, June. Here we go. Namaste. Good to see you. Let me see. Tina. Hello, Tina. You're a German teacher, but you work in Ukraine. Hello. Okay, let's see. Speaking activities. Here we go. Hello. Thank you very much. We can talk about speaking activities. In my school, actually, I see my students once a week. And the curriculum that I designed for foreign teachers is geared towards conversational English. So it's reading skills and also it's conversational English. We're not supposed to teach too much grammar, because this is what Chinese teachers usually do. And like, it doesn't really matter whether you're teaching a storybook. You can always gear your scaffold towards a speaking activity. Here's another one. Chinese culture follows rules bringing children as boys and girls. It's an easy way to unite their skills. I'm not so sure about that. I think it's just a matter of preference, because some teachers, especially those who have their own classrooms, they do divide them into different teams. I think it's just a matter of personal preference. If I had my own classroom, I would probably do it differently, you know. All right, a question from June. What kind of curriculum do you follow in your school? From which grade onwards do the children start learning English? Good question. Thank you. Well, in China, in public schools, kids start learning English in grade 3. The reason for that is that before grade 3, they're still learning pinyin. As you know, in China, people use characters to write, but there is also a Romanized version of the characters, and that's what kids are learning in grade 1 and 2. So there is this fear that kids are going to confuse the English alphabet with pinyin, the standardized Romanized version of Chinese characters. That's why they start learning English in grade 3. But in many schools, they invite foreign teachers to teach conversational English in grades 1 and 2. And the curriculum really depends on a school. I work in a public/private school, but it has all the features and characteristics of the public school. So they have their own curriculum when it comes to their own English classes. But for our classes, actually, I was the one who designed the curriculum for grades 3 to 6. We teach storybooks, follow the Follow the Rabbit book series, and I wrote a lesson plan guideline for these books for both terms. We have lesson plan templates. We have like a whole system, that teachers follow. And for grades 1 and 2, we also have lesson plan guideline that the teachers follow. I hope it answers your question. All right, let me see. Speaking activities. Here we go. Well, I think you have to be a little bit more specific, because when it comes to speaking activities, it's dialogue practice usually. Like when we teach in primary school, and if we're teaching ESL classes, we usually follow a very specific formula, because kids need to build up their vocabulary before they can actually use it in sentences. So we always start with the alphabet. First, we learn the letters. Yeah. Number 2, we learn words. Number 3, phrases. Number 4, sentences. Number 5, questions. And then we put it all together in a dialogue. So we always follow this formula: vocabulary, sentences, questions, and then dialogues. So, and also in my school, we follow the task-based approach, which means that when you teach each part, for example, let's say you teach vocabulary and then you reinforce it with a game or an activity. Then you go to the next part. Let's say you teach a sentence structure, and then again you reinforce it with a game or an activity. And this way it goes up to a dialogue. And I always suggest not to focus on just vocabulary in one class, but design it in such a way that you always end up in some sort of dialogue. As for like very specific speaking activities, I would need to maybe show you a PowerPoint or do it in a different way. All right. Here's a question. Which activities would you recommend teaching a child in a 3rd grade? Well, it depends on the proficiency level of this child. Some children in grade 3 are very advanced. Some children can barely speak. So it's difficult to answer this question without knowing the specifics. Okay. Which activities would I recommend teaching to a child if he doesn't know any letters? Then start with the alphabet. Start with the letters. You can start teaching the letters and also the sound that letters make. Like, for example, you can go with like A, apple, apple, B, ball, ball, C, cat, cat, and so on. By the way, today I've uploaded the phonics alphabet to my store with sound. So it has all the 26 letters, and I pre-recorded the sound. So if you want to check it out, please go to my store on Teachers Pay Teachers and download that PowerPoint. Okay. Any specific application which helps grading students during lessons or after lessons? What do you mean by specific applications? I'm not quite sure what you mean. In my school, we don't have midterm exams, but we have final exams. And during the final exams, well, in my grade at least, we have an oral test, which is based on an interview with every student individually. So like I talk to the student, I have a rubric, I grade their fluency, their pronunciation, their grammar, and I can remember there is one more criterion. Yeah, and then we put it all together. All right, let's see. That is a very good question. Hi, Евгения. Добрый день, добрый вечер. Я не знаю, какое время дня у вас. And I'm sorry for my Russian, it's really rusty. Dear Val, please give some hacks on minimizing preparation time for a teacher. How much time do you spend to prepare for your lessons? Well, it's very individual, you know. Like, as I said, I spent a lot of time on my PowerPoints. And I tell it to every teacher I know. The more time you spend on your PowerPoints, if you can use these PowerPoints in your classes, the less problems you have with classroom management in class, because students, your children, see how much effort you put into making these classes. So I think, like, I don't really have any classroom management issues in my lessons because kids love my classes. And I think the reason they love my classes is because I make them really, really interesting, you know? And yeah, like, it depends what kind of PowerPoint you're doing. But for me, for example, if I want to create something with videos, you know, with video stories and so on, it may take maybe 2 or 3 days to create a PowerPoint. If I create video story, for example, then because I need to collect all these videos or film these videos, put it all together. But if it's just pictures and some GIFs, I think it takes me like 4 to 5 hours with all my experience, and I do it very quickly, but it still takes 4 to 5 hours to create a PowerPoint. And some people do it much quicker, but this is what I usually do, and this is how much time it takes for me to make a PowerPoint. I hope it answers your question. All right. Your lesson, How to Make a Pizza, was an inspiration to me. Thank you so much. Can you elaborate on dialogue practices? Well, this specific lesson was based on a recipe because, you know, this lesson actually works on many different levels. It also works as a conversational lesson because they get to say all these instructions, and also it introduces the structure of the recipe. So in the future, when they have to write down a recipe, they will be able to do that. But for dialogue practices, if you remember at the end of the class, since it's essentially a storybook, you can list the questions like what is the title of the book, what is it about, who are the characters, and then maybe some specific questions from the story. And you maybe end with a question, what did you learn from the book, or what did you learn from the story? And then you can drill it together with the class. So for example, you ask the question, and then you ask your students to raise the hand and answer these questions, or you can do it as a choral drill. And then you do pair work. You put them all into pairs. You list all these questions on the PowerPoint, and then in pairs, they ask each other all these questions. So this could be one of the ways. Hello, Malaysia. Hello, Vietnam. Good to see you. Israel, hello. Here we go. Hi, Salto. I started working this year, and it was so hard to keep the class organized and quiet when they are more than 30. Any piece of advice? Yes, it can be really, really challenging. Before when I started working in China, I came to China in 2002. And when I started teaching in China, I had classes of 50 students. And most classes in China are large. You have up to 50 students in one class. And it's really, really not easy to keep them behaved for 40 minutes. So what worked for me, again, consistency. I was very consistent with everything I did. Also, I had rules. I had a clear this point and star system, which really helped for me. And actually, it's a huge topic. Maybe one day we can have a live stream dedicated to classroom management, and I can share all my secrets with you. But if I were to summarize it in a few maybe sentences, I would say: 1, be very consistent with everything you do. 2, set boundaries and keep them, which means you need to have rules in your class. 3, have a point and star system or something similar, because most kids are competitive. They want to win. So use it to your advantage, like they like to win. So if they misbehave, you remove points. And this way you can apply peer pressure, because, somebody may misbehaves or talks too much, and their classmates will be saying like, what are you doing? Stop doing that. We're losing because of you. Something like that. Hello, Adam. Where did you learn teaching techniques? Well, I have 2 degrees. 2 masters. I have masters in management, and I have masters in creative literature and in creative writing and literature. Also, I am a certified TESOL instructor. I got a TESOL diploma from a Canadian college, and I've been teaching for more than 20 years. So all my techniques, all my experience comes from classrooms. I've been teaching for a very, very long time. And for the past 15 years, I've been training teachers. So I train teachers. I run workshops from time to time. Even at my school, we have workshops every single month. We call them mini workshops. So we have a staff meeting, and then we have a mini workshop. Usually teachers write down what they want to talk about, and I prepare a talk or a workshop or some sort of activity where we learn from each other. All right. What would you suggest teachers to do to motivate and engage students? I have a few students who seem to never listen. Thank you. Well, I think you need to identify and understand why they don't want to listen. Maybe this lesson is too easy for them, or maybe it is too difficult. You know, children have very short attention spans, and it's difficult for them to stay focused. There is an interesting theory, you know, like if we're talking about primary school children. So this theory states that their attention span is linked to their age. That's why we always say you need to vary activities all the time in your class. Like in a 40-minute lesson, you should have 4 or 5 different activities, and they need to be different. Your class cannot be monotonous. It has to have a certain rhythm to it. So imagine your students are your musicians and you are conductor. So you need to feel the rhythm of the class. And maybe to answer your question, you can ask yourself if your lesson is too easy or if your lesson is too difficult, if there is anything you can do to improve, you know. Also, each class has a few leaders, and like in every society, right? There are leaders and there are the ones that follow. So a classroom is like resembles the society that we live in. So you need to identify the leaders in your classroom. Usually they are the ones who misbehave, and then separate them. Maybe you can ask these leaders to be your helpers. Children love to help, you know, bring this, do that. Also, you can ask them to sit near you so you can keep an eye on them. So maybe things like that can help you. Hello, Spain. I love your methodology and your lessons. By the way, one of my good friends here in Nanjing is from Barcelona, so I'm very happy to see someone from Spain. Thank you. I am preparing my syllabus for the Access exam to be an English teacher, and I would like to have some tips about web pages and resources to enrich my syllabus. Well, excuse me. It really depends. Like your syllabus depends on your goals or your aims. For example, I am a big fan of storybooks. I believe that the best way to learn English is through storybooks, because in most ESL classes, you drill vocabulary, you drill sentences, and you play lots of games. You saw my lessons, they do not really look like ESL classes. I mean, like regular ESL classes, they're a little bit different. Well, some of them are ESL classes, but I think most of them are reading classes. That's why my syllabus, my lesson plan guideline is geared towards teaching through storybooks. And then I use the whole language approach, because in one lesson, I teach vocabulary, I teach sentence structures, I teach listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And also I try to end my class in dialogue practice. If you watch any of my classes, you will see that there's a lot of listening there, a lot of speaking, a lot of reading, and a lot of writing. And I think it's the best way to learn. Okay. Next one. Let me see. Here we go. Hello, teacher. Hi. My problem is when I explain the lesson, they make a lot of noise. Is there any advice? Thank you. What do you mean when you explain the lesson? Uh, maybe you are talking too much in your class, and maybe your students do not understand what you are saying. That's why when, for example, when we teach young learners, we always say that we need to reduce teacher talking time. In an ideal world, ideally, you need to aim for 80/20 split, where you as a teacher are talking 20% of the time. In real life, it rarely happens. It's very difficult to achieve the split, but you still need to try and speak less in class, because again, if your students do not understand what you're saying, they lose interest. Any plans to create an online course for teachers? I would love to study with you. You mean like a workshop? I think it's possible. It's possible. I do train teachers online. I use class in virtual classroom. In this classroom, you can have up to 50 people, but you can have only six people on the screen. But of course, you can rotate, and this way you can see each other, you can interact with each other, and I love this way because I can show my PowerPoints and I can actually teach you, for example, how to create something, or we can talk through different topics. Actually, I have prepared a little bit. So for example, here I even have a list of the workshops that I offer. So they're called Teacher Professional Development Workshops. Here we go. So for example, I'll just go through the topics, So lesson planning process, tips and procedures. Yeah. If you want to be a successful teacher, you need to master 3 things. 1, you need to be able to write good lesson plans. So lesson planning process is super important. And that's why this is one of the basic skills that you need to master as a teacher. So I can teach an easy way to create a lesson plan, which practically teaches itself. 2, instructional scaffolding. Scaffolding, it's a term developed by Lev Vygotsky's concepts of an expert assisting a new trainee. So this is an educational concept. This is where you teach your students to get from 0 level to mastery. And we always say as teachers, you need to scaffold your lessons properly. I already mentioned it today. You need to, for example, when you teach in primary school, you need to go from vocabulary, sentences, questions to dialogues this way, right? So this is like a pretty long workshop where we talk about different ways how we can scaffold our lesson. And skill number 3 is classroom management. Now, if you can combine all these 3 skills together, you will be an amazing teacher. And some of the other topics would be play to learn, games in a language classroom, teaching conversation, shaping and modeling an activity or task for English language learners, how to teach reading skills, sheltered instruction, how to teach storybooks, building a lesson using a song, building a lesson using a video, teaching writing skills, the secret of remembering words or teaching vocabulary, and so on, so on, so on, so on. So anyways, it is possible to have an online course. We just need to have a certain number of people to make it happen. If anyone is interested, then you can write me an email and we'll see. maybe we can make it happen. Anything is possible. All right. Hello, Olga. Do you like to live in China? Do you rent a flat himself or a school helps to rent? Well, I have lived in China for nearly 20 years. Nanjing is my home. I absolutely love being here. I think it's an amazing country. And yes, it has become my home. I honestly don't want to be anywhere else. And right now, I have an apartment. I bought an apartment. So I don't rent an apartment. I have my own. Yes. Also, if you're a teacher, if you're just a teacher who wants to work here, usually, yes, schools pay you the allowance, and sometimes some schools also rent an apartment for you if they. But like pretty much, your contract always includes some sort of housing allowance. Hello, South Korea. How are you? Good to see you. All right, let's see how to learn to improve about teaching. I'm sorry, I don't quite understand. You need to be more specific so I can answer your question. Hey, Letty, good to see you. I'm so happy that right now I can recognize some of you. So, woohoo! Hi. Yes, I think it is important to have a place and time just to talk about what we do. Because, when we talk with strangers, nobody's really interested to talk about the kitchen behind teaching. So that's why it's great to have these professional workshops. It's great to have, I don't know, place and time where you can talk about stuff and share ideas, because at the end of the day, it's what makes us better at our jobs. And I do believe with all my heart that what we do is going to echo in eternity, because we are shaping the minds of the future leaders, future bosses, future, I don't know, politicians. So whatever like seed we implant into their minds is going to make a difference. That's what I believe. And I do think that as a teacher, you should be teaching more than just English. You need to teach them how to be better people at the end of the day, because it's going to matter, especially in the times we're living right now. Hello, hello. I'm so happy to see so many people from Spain. Nice. What books or other resources can you recommend for teachers? Well, there are so many different kinds of resources, but maybe what I could recommend is, let me type it up. Maybe this. Let me see. Kids. All right. Here we go. Raskits, this one. You can just Google it. It's Raskits. It's an online reading platform. I think they have like multiple, like it works on multiple platforms, on multiple, like on mobile devices. You need to check it out. But they have a lot of reading materials for all levels, like 0 to like university level. So if I were to recommend something, I would definitely recommend Raskits. All right. Next one. Good morning from Brazil, Teacher Val. Hola, hola Brazil, hola Andrea. Thank you for sharing those precious tips, and the only way to improve our practice is classroom is really by doing and learning day after day. Yeah, I agree. I agree. There is no magical pill. Like everything I know, I learned through a lot of errors, a lot of mistakes that I made in the classroom. I was really far away from perfect. I did many things wrong, but I kept trying, So it doesn't matter how experienced you are. It doesn't matter how many degrees you have or what kind of education you have or which country you come from. What matters is the time you spend with kids. And there is always room for improvement. You can be like super educated, super experienced, but there is always something that you can learn. Always. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Do you have any good games for high school students? Yes, actually. Well, with high school, I prefer not to play games. And also, I'm not a big fan of these games because I don't want to be one of those teachers who just play games in the classroom. I believe that each game needs to have a language point and it needs to serve a certain purpose. Again, if you noticed in my classes, we don't play too many games. I mean, like each game lasts maybe 5 minutes, sometimes even less. But I do have a few games for high school students. And as a matter of fact, I have recorded one of my videos, which I will upload maybe in a couple of weeks, where I demonstrate a game for higher level students, because some of you actually asked me for it, and I'm going to show you a really cool game. I hope you're gonna like it. And this game is going to work really well with middle school students and high school students. So please stay tuned, and I hope you are going to like what you see in a couple of weeks. Okay. Thank you very much. Yes, I thought it would be a good idea to share pretty much Blackboard lessons, because again, when I came to China, I didn't really have technology in my classrooms. I had a blackboard and a piece of chalk. That's why I had to be very creative in everything I had to do to make my lessons interesting. That's why I do have a few really cool games, which I'm going to share with you from my past experience. And also, I know that some of my subscribers do not have access to technology. So I think it's a good idea to show what you can do without a computer in the classroom. And even if you have access to computer, to overhead projector, to smart board, I think it's good to have this sort of balance between technology and old school lessons. So yes, definitely. Thank you. Okay. All right, another question from June. Do they provide teaching resources to the teachers in China, or they make it according to the lesson plans? Your lessons are interesting. Thank you for sharing your ideas and techniques with us. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes. It depends on a school, but some schools do provide resources to the teachers. And some schools hire foreign teachers just to practice conversational English. In this case, teachers have to create their own lessons, and this is where they really, really struggle. So that's why teacher Matt, maybe some of you know him, he's a good friend of mine, and we want to create an archive of different kinds of lessons that those teachers who are kind of thrown into the classroom without any help or resources, so they can have PowerPoints they can just follow and teach a class for different levels. So this is one of the reasons why I have my store. I don't have many PowerPoints right now in there, but I will be uploading more and more and more and more. And I hope in a few years there will be, I don't know, hundreds PowerPoints there. And then you can actually have a whole course based on these PowerPoint lessons. So thank you. All right, let's see. Here we go. Hi, Teacher Val. What is your opinion on teaching with students' book and workbook as done in most of the public schools? Well, yeah. I used to be one of those teachers, I used to I taught all grades 1 to 6 for probably 15 years at one of the schools here in Nanjing. And when I did so, I did have a student book and a workbook, and also students had their own notebook. So I had to do a lot of grading after classes. I mean, what's my opinion? It's the system that teachers use here in China. We have to understand that China is a country that historically values pen and paper exams. And it's pretty much the only way, given the fact how many people, how many students there are, in the classrooms. It's difficult. Now, after the latest reforms, I think it's getting a little bit better, but it's just the way it is. I mean, it's difficult to come up with something better. I mean, don't break something that works, right? Okay, let's see. Will it be a paid course? What do you mean? What course are you referring to? Please clarify. Here we go. Hello. Vocabulary retention and retrieval may be one of the main challenges for ESL students. How do you tackle this point, Teacher Val? Well, yes. First of all, you're absolutely right. It's difficult for students to remember so many words. But this is why I really like storybooks, because storybooks put everything in context. And it's always easier to remember something when it is in context, when you learn it through context. For example, I am very bad with numbers. I am horrible with numbers, Excuse me. But I think I'm pretty good with words and stories. I love stories, and I can remember words and stories that are attached to them. And this is it's a technique that I sometimes use in my classes. I attach a story to the word, and then students remember it really well. So, for example, sometimes I use Chinese. For example, if I teach the word Washington, in Chinese, you can say Washington, which means my heart aches, my heart hurts, Washington. So it sounds somewhat similar to Washington, but students find it funny. They always laugh, and this is how they remember this word really, really well. Or if we talk about like maybe middle school or high school students, it's always a good idea to come with, to give them the etymology of the word, the history of the word. For example, the word sabotage. It's not an English word. It comes from French language, and there is a fascinating story behind it. Why do we say sabotage? So in the 18th century, French workers used to wear very heavy boots called sabots. And they often went on a strike, and they used to throw these heavy boots or sabots into their machinery to stop it, yeah, because they went on a strike. Hence the word sabotage. I mean, things like that. So if you can come up with some sort of shorter story or give a little bit more information about the word to your students, I think they will remember it better. Okay, let's go on. Okay. Here we go. Hello, Teacher Val. Hello, Katharina. Hi. Nice to see you. I will join in course specially for teacher because I think I need to improve my English ability. Well, thank you very much. Again, if you are interested in the workshops or courses, please write me an email. There is my email address on my channel. If you go to the About folder, click on the About folder, there is an email address there. So write it there, and if we have enough number of people, yeah, I think we can make it happen. Anything is possible. All right. Hi, Val. Can you recommend books for teachers? Well, yeah, I have a few books, but I need to give it a thought. I need to think about it. And I can maybe make a list or something and then share it with you guys. But definitely, because right now I can't remember the authors and I can't really remember the books, but I have some here. So yes, sure. Okay. Here's one more question. Could you give the best strategy how to analyze and answer the questions in reading comprehension texts? Well, this is where you need to have a workshop. Because actually we did this workshop with my teachers, I think 2 months ago. We talked about 10 effective strategies for reading comprehension. And this is not, I can't answer it shortly, because when you talk about reading comprehension, usually it has to be divided into two parts. It has to be vocabulary comprehension, and it has to be reading comprehension, right? So these are two different things. And yeah, there is a variety of activities that we do. It's visualizing, it's connecting to background knowledge, and it's also a variety of exercises like true or false, or, when you summarize the passage or summarize the story or extract the main idea, and so on and so on and so on. This should be like a separate stream or a separate video or something separate. It's not enough to answer it in a few minutes. And I can see that we only have 5 minutes left. So I'll have to stop now. All right. Let's see. Okay, this is an interesting question. Do you use any course books like Superminds, Kidsbox, Gateway to plan your lessons, or do you have your own program? I don't use these books at school, but I'm familiar with them. And actually, I'm going to upload a video of my lesson next week. This book, this one, look, it's Home is Best. And this is the fourth and final book we covered this term. And I teach this book in 2 lessons. So this book is about little parrot who doesn't like his old house, and he wants to live and he wants to find a new one. So I thought in my first lesson I would talk about different types of houses, and in my next lesson we would finish the book and we would talk about animal homes, because in the story, as you can see, like the squirrel is living in a tree hollow, and we see some sort of, I don't know, burrow, rabbit burrow, probably. And what else do we have? We have mountains, which means there are caves in the mountains, and so on. So stay tuned. You're going to see how I teach it. And the first lesson actually is based on the story or a lesson that I saw in Kids Box, so it's my interpretation of this class. So yeah, like as teachers, we use all kinds of resources and everything is connected. All right. What about engaging students in an online class? I think I have a video on my channel where I talk about how to teach class. So search what else? Do you have any degree in education? maybe a lot of foreign teachers in public schools or training centers just play games with the kids. So maybe professional Chinese teachers, when they see what foreign teachers do in their classes, are not happy with what they see, because they see it as a waste of time. That's why I don't like to play games in my class. I want it to be right. Okay. Teacher must use media. Well, I mean, at our school, it is a must. We have to make PowerPoints. And actually, it really helps, because you can put so much information on the PowerPoint. You can use videos. You can make games. And like in my case, I like to use this different, a balance between PowerPoint and Blackboard activities. But yeah, I mean, you can also make a lesson without a PowerPoint, and it can be very interesting. All right, let's see. Hey, Matt. Good to see you. Thank you very much. Woo! Thank you. Thank you very much. I am very happy to see you. By the way, everyone, this is Teacher Matt. I'm going to give a link to his channel. He has amazing lessons. He's an amazing teacher, and trust me, you're going to benefit so much from his lessons. Also, he has his store both on Taobao and elsewhere where you can download his PowerPoints. They're amazing. If you're a new teacher, if you want to learn something new, please go to his channel. You can actually just type up Matthew Van Orden in the search engine on YouTube, and it will take you to his channel. All right. Okay, I think I have time for one last question, and then we'll call it a day. Olga, Japan. Hi, Olga. Could you kindly share how you had mastered English so well? Well, honestly, I don't think I speak English that well. English is my third language. I speak 4 languages. Yes, sorry. I speak 4 languages. So my first language is Lithuanian. My second language is Russian. My third language is English. And my fourth language is Chinese. So I'm not a native speaker. I know that I make lots of mistakes and I probably do not sound like a native speaker, but it doesn't really matter, you know, as long as you know what you are doing. And for the past 20 years, I've been speaking English and English only. I even think in English. So I guess it helps. All right. Well, thank you very much for all your questions. I really enjoy talking to you guys. And if you like this kind of live streams, we can make them regular. We can do them topic by topic, and this way we can stay in touch with each other and communicate in a different way. So let me know if you would like that, and yeah, we can make it happen. I can maybe do it twice a month or something. All right, well, thank you very much, and to you all, I'll see you in the comments, and I'll see you around. Thank you. Bye, everyone.